Supergirl episode 7, Human for a Day. This was without a doubt the best episode of the series so far. I don't know when we'll get another episode like this, but this one was definitely amazing. We had two teary-eyed moments. We had one inspirational moment, which was basically two in one because we had Supergirl without her powers. We had Kara as Supergirl without her powers, and Kat actually being fairly nice and decent and just real with the people of the city. And of course, we had the epic reveal towards the end of the episode of finding out that Hank Henshaw is actually the Martian Manhunter, which was a pretty crazy reveal. I wasn't expecting that, but it was very awesome. And then we also got the ending, which is, of course, leading us into the mid-season finale. But best episode so far. I definitely loved it. It started off pretty fast. It was just random explosion. Still no real explanation as to what that was. It was just earthquake thing, stuff blowing up. There's a lot of issues. And then that was pretty much it. It's we need Supergirl and we don't have her. So, crazy drastic event. Maxwell Lord hating all over Supergirl. He just hates her. Honestly, it's just where is she at? What's happening? So, whatever. And then, he says stuff like that, and it's man, he's just really hating her a lot for no really good reason. Because, of course, I love how his idea of blaming her is she helped us, and now she's gone, and it's her fault that we can't help ourselves. What? How does that doesn't make any sense? They wouldn't have been able to help themselves either way, and I understand, his idea is that it's worse because you assume someone's going to be there to make all, the problems go away, and then it's not, so it kind of, it takes you lower than you would be normally, and it's kind of funny, but it's still just well, that just means people are too complacent, just thinking, oh, she's going to solve every issue just because she's in the city. But then, of course, they actually get him in the episode, and Kara and Jimmy are talking to him, and then I like him again because he's super genius, and he's oh, she lost her powers. I'm wow, what the heck? How did he figure that out? And it's I've been studying Superman. He normally gets his powers after about 2 days, and we're way past that at this point, and it's just his research is impeccable. It's unbelievably on point as far as what is and is not happening with Supergirl, and I love that. It makes him a great threat for the future, and I don't know when he's going to officially be a villain, but he's clearly in sort of the Lex Luthor kind of camp of super villainy. He's the human guy with, an above average, human brain. So it was really cool, just that little scene. And then, of course, it's when they go to help the woman's father, it's you're a doctor. It's I did this, in med school or whatever. He knows this, and he's oh, it'll be in this, I have to find this vessel and stuff like that. But it was kind of cool. I was man, kind of hate him because all he does is act like she's causing everyone's problems. And then it's well, that makes him seem kind of cool as a villain character because he's, just figuring out exactly what the issue is. And it's oh, she doesn't have her powers. She must have blown him out going up against Red Tornado. And I knew that because I studied Superman and I know how long it takes for his powers to come back and stuff. So I was that's really cool that he figured all that out. And it's not he just he figured it out automatically, but he did the research, so he knew what was happening, and he knew that it was the same thing with Superman, so it was just, really cool, and I love that. It was that's actually pretty neat that he figured it out just from all his, former research, and then we got the first, teary-eyed scene, and it was Kara cannot do anything to help save this man's life, and he dies, and we have a really good scene where she's upset, and it was just very, a very heart-to-heart moment with her and Jimmy, and then it's well, now I can't stop, trying, and I love that moment, she sees the people break in after Jimmy's, inspirational speech, and it's you just said I can't stop trying. He's yeah, when you get your powers back, you can get shot and killed right now. I meant later, don't stop, because you can't die. But right now, just back off. So I love, how he instantly flipped, well, I was thinking in the future, not right now with with no powers, but I love that moment and it was really cool. And then we have Kat who finally has just a really serious moment with people. She starts off, she's reading off her paper, and then it's just you know what? We're dealing with a bunch of crap. and she kind of flips what Max said about Supergirl leaving, and it's like, hey, we can't depend on her all the time, and when she is able to come back, she will. But for now, we need to help each other, and it was a really human moment for her character, which was great. And then at the same time, we have Kara, who is talking down, robbers without actual powers, and I love the moment when they showed her hand and it's shaking because she's in so much pain just having her arm down when it's broken, and it's just, straight out, they have you bend your arm for a reason, and I was like, man, that was just a really great moment for her character. And I've said this before, that is what I love about this show more than anything else. They do the development for the characters insanely well. And they did it great for Kara, and they also did it great for Alex as well, because she finally has her confrontation with, Hank, who we, of course, find out is the Martian Manhunter. And it was really good. Like, they're in this crazy situation, and it's like, all this stuff is going wrong, and it's just crazy. And I just remember, because of their conversation at the end, they have 3 teary-eyed moments in this episode. But she has this confrontation with him. It's like, she gets this guy, Donovan, I believe his name was, and so they're going on this mission. It's like, everything's crazy. We have this villain Jim who can mind control people, which I actually found out that the guy who played Jim is actually, I don't remember his real name, but he's the guy who played Chaz in Constantine. So I thought that was kind of awesome when I saw that. I believe his name is Charlie something, but I thought that was kind of awesome. Like, oh, he went from one DC show to the next. So that was kind of cool, finding out that he was actually in that, or he was the villain in this episode. But things are really weird and stuff, and she's like, I don't trust him. He wants me to just stay here and not help out. And, we go through all this stuff. Alex had a super badass moment. Not only does she go up against Hank, and it's like, look, I'm getting all of this done. I'm selling this. I'm locking you up here. I'm gonna take out the villain and everything. She does it all on her own because Donovan was super slow putting on the thing. So she's doing it all on her own. She gets Jim out there. She's shooting him up with a machine gun, sets off all the grenades. Then she comes out with the shotgun. She's just walking towards him. Then she's dual wielding and stuff. I'm like, this is just too badass for her character. I was like, this is amazing to watch. And it was just like every form of a weapon she could have, she used in that scene outside of knives. And I was like, that was really cool. And then we get Hank. He drops down on him and he like beats the guy up and snaps his neck, which didn't surprise me. I was like, okay, it's been shown he has super strength because he ripped open the grenade, so that was really easy to figure out. And then it was just like, alright, what the heck is happening? He got out of the handcuffs, super strength. And so we have the talk and everything happens, and once again, another teary-eyed moment. And I think this is the last one of the episode. So he's talking and everything, and it gets emotional. We find out the truth about Alex's father, and that he actually died on this mission because he was sacrificing himself to save this alien creature. And Hank Henshaw died because Hank Henshaw was actually a douche, and John is actually, copying his identity fairly well, apparently. So that was kind of funny. It was like, well, he totally took over him, and it was like, well, guess I just have to be a dick to blend in. So that's exactly what's happening in that case. And we find out that Hank Henshaw is the Martian Manhunter. Love the way they did the effects on him. I thought it looked really cool. He was super tall. Like, I know in most of the animated shows, which honestly only consist of Justice League and Young Justice, and I guess the movies, the animated DC movie as well, he's normally, how they animate him, he's normally like the same height as most people, but they made him seem like he was like 8 feet tall when he was standing over Alex, because she was kind of looking up, and it's like he grows and they pan the camera up, and he has the full regular costume too. And I mentioned this with like Red Tornado. I wish it was closer to the design, because in the comics he's a robot, but he just looks more human. And I didn't like his design too much in the last episode. It was cool, but it was too human in a robot costume. And this, I was like, that's really cool. It was full on CG. I think it really worked. Considering they did it this way, and he does appear to be like really, really tall, I don't think they'll do a live action version in a later episode, because that would kind of mess up what they had. Because they even do like the pointed head version, and technically he is a shapeshifter, so he could easily shrink himself down and they could make it work. But I'd find that pretty interesting if they would. I'd like to see, and I'm sure we'll see more of the CG version before they get into figuring out whether or not they want to even do a physical version, which I'm sure they will at some point. But I'd like to see more, because obviously we only got our first glimpse, which is very cool. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. It was his regular costume. I think the only thing he was missing really was like we don't see, the bottom half, so I don't know if he was in like his natural alien form, which I believe he was, because they show him with like the pointed head and everything, instead of his where he's just green, but he's still in his like humanoid shape form. So he was in like his full alien form, I believe. um I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure he has he has a cape. So it's like, the only thing that wasn't there as well is like he didn't have a cape. But it's like, that was really cool to see. Very, very big surprise. Like, as soon as he said I was the last son of, the last son of Mars, I was like, I know who this is, and I couldn't believe it. Because my girlfriend had seen the episode, and she was like, when you see a certain scene, you'll know, which part I liked. And she loves Martian Manhunter, because he never really gets the recognition that pretty much everyone else does. So it was kind of awesome, and I was like, I was trying to figure out every scene. I was like, okay, well, this is a great moment, because she loves, I think like everybody does, all the emotional stuff that we get from Flash, and like all the teary-eyed scenes. We got a bunch of those in this, and I was like, maybe this was the scene she really enjoyed. And so I was going through, and she said I wouldn't be able to question it, so I'm like, well, I guess it can't be that. And at one point, I really thought it was Jimmy's scene when he started crying about his father. And it was really quick, but that scene really got me. I was like, man, I don't know why, but it was just like, that scene was probably my favorite, honestly, like, emotional moment, and it was just so quick. It was like, as soon as he said, you know, it was like that pause, and then he was like, and then he didn't come back. I was like, jeez, it's like, it just hit me for some reason really hard, and I was like, that was a really great scene. And then they kind of, I'll move past it a little bit, but it was really, really great, and it was kind of just Jimmy's life, all in that one little moment about the very first picture he ever took, and it was of his father, and it was the last time he ever saw him. And I was like, that was a great little moment, and it was really well done. And I was like, how could that not be the moment? And then of course it was like, oh well, they introduced the Martian Manhunter. So my moment personally was Jimmy's. That was like my favorite moment in the whole episode, despite all the other great emotional moments, and even Kara not being able to save the guy, and the moment right after, and the end reveal, which was really great. I did love it. Overall, that'll be like the big thing, because obviously that'll have more of an impact than Jimmy telling the story about his father. But for this episode specifically, despite the crazy reveal at the end, that moment I think is going to stick with me a lot more than the reveal, just because I don't know, reveals, it's such a hard way to explain it, because it's like, reveals are just a part of, comic book TV shows. Like, they're gonna reveal new characters, but you never know when you're gonna get hit with a great character moment, and that was certainly one for Jimmy, a very good moment. It was a good moment for Kara too, but then, after she asked, it was obviously about Jimmy and his father and stuff, and I was like, that was a really good moment. And I guess a part of it was the photography thing, and how he talked about, you take a picture and that lasts, you have that moment of that person forever. And I was like, that just added to everything that, was clearly going on through his head about his father and all that stuff. And I was like, man, that really, just really had a great impact on me. I don't know why. It was just like a good combination of his story and just the idea of that personal connection to photography just really made a lot of sense to me. And I was like, that was a great moment. But I love this episode for sure. It's definitely the best one. I don't know what to expect for the finale. Outside of, finally Astra came back, because I mentioned this before. I was like, I'm kind of getting tired of just the random things happening. It's been like, I think it was 4 episodes, and there was like no Astra. So I'm like, what in the world is going on? And based on the ending to this episode, because Kara's flying through the air, and then she just, boom, she crashes into the ground, but she survives. So I'm not sure if they're going to play around with certain elements of kryptonite and things like that, because I thought that's what they were gonna do when Alex knocked off the gem off a gem. I thought that his crystal would count actually as blue kryptonite, which normally turns Kryptonians. Basically, it turns them human. So blue kryptonite, human. Green obviously weakens them. Red makes them go angry. And I believe those are all the colors. There's probably been some new ones, more recently. But I thought that's kind of how they were going to do it, and that would kind of just have an effect later in the series. But based on the outfits that the Astra and her two guards were wearing, it seemed like they converted the kryptonite into blue kryptonite, and that weakened Kara, but it didn't turn her human because she fell and hit the ground, but she got right back up because it's supposed to be automatic where it's like you're human now, just like regular kryptonite automatically weakens them. Blue kryptonite is supposed to just boom, you're human basically. So it kind of should have killed her, but she also hit the ground and broke it. So they could change up how it affects him and things like that. But I'm looking forward to it. So I'm glad Astra's finally back. Giant battles happening, and we might get to see Martian Manhunter actually fight in the next episode. I mean, Hank as a character is in pretty much every. I think he's been in every episode, so he's in it just like the other main characters, and that basically means every episode we have Martian Manhunter. And now that we know, I mean, obviously he can't reveal himself, all over the freaking place, and he probably won't. So they'll probably be saving that, big piece of content for the second half of the season. But I'd love to see it if somehow we got to see him, you know, change form in the next episode or something. But, excuse me, now that they've done the reveal, maybe it'll lead to new possibilities with Hank and Alex working together. And it's like, okay, well, this person is supposed to be like this, and then boom, Hank now knows like he can share the secret with Alex, so it'll help them when they're working together. They can solve missions a little bit easier. But love the episode, love the emotional character moments. Kara not having her abilities, two great moments in a row with her, losing that guy, and then even without her powers, being Supergirl and talking the guy down from robbing the place, or all those people down, really, from robbing the convenience store. So, love this episode. Definitely my favorite by far. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And naturally, I have to ask what you guys thought about Martian Manhunter actually being, Hank Henshaw. So, definitely let me know what you guys think about that. Whether you're excited, you don't care. I mean, that's pretty much it. You're either excited because it's Martian Manhunter, or you don't really care because you don't like Martian Manhunter, which I don't see how you could. Martian Manhunter is pretty freaking sweet. He's kind of like the more awesome version of Superman, as far as I'm concerned, because it's like he has a billion different powers, but they're just better powers. I just like them way more. Like, fire might be his weakness, but never seen Superman turn into a dragon, so, Martian Manhunter wins. But I want to know what you guys think about it, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.